Right, got gaskets and stuff. I've had a clean up in here and this edge, cleaned the screws, threads off, etc. So what I'm going to do now is put the primary drain plug back in. As you know, I use thread sealer. This doesn't have a rubber seal on it. I'll just put a thin bead sort of in the middle of the screws, sorry, the middle of the threads, like so. Grab a rag and just give it one last wipe off. Nip that up. And that's that. So now I've got my oil to put in yet, but got gaskets here. Make sure I don't cut the fuckers. Now I opted for these ones because I wanted the solid one. Reason being, obviously that one goes that way towards the clutch. Reason being is, you'll have noticed when I took it off, I have a spacer ring on there. Now that spacer ring came ages ago with a clutch kit that I was fitting on a bike, like competition clutch kit, and it came with a spacer, but because all his primary and everything was like spaced out anyways, and well, plus it was an open primary, it didn't need that spacer ring on it, so it was just spares. And when I was building this up as a bike, I come across it. I was looking for some bits and I come across the thing, and I thought I'll just put it on here just for show more than out else. So just open that up. This gasket set comes with the different type of primary gaskets. So I've got a new gasket to go in there, which will just sit on there for now. But what you also get is you get two new O-rings for your drain plugs, for your like your tranny in your engine, and on some of them they have a little O-ring washer for the primary. So primary one I'll stick in its appropriate bag, and the other ones I'll stick in my bag of O-rings for the drain plugs. Stick that over there out of the way. So yeah, what I've got on there, if I show you the old gaskets, obviously that's the gasket that come out of there, so won't be reusing that anyways. Now that's the gaskets that was on here, and then there was another one, so there was two gaskets. There was one up against that surface and then one up against the spacer. I'm just going to chuck that down there because it's dripping oil off. There was one on the spacer as well, so I've gone for this solid one for two reasons. One, it's solid, but it means that I can just reuse the old gasket from between the spacer and the outer cover. It won't actually do anything, if you know what I mean. It's not a gasket as such, but it's just so it's not metal against metal. That'll be the one that actually seals it up. So with these ones, obviously towards clutch, and you can tell, if you can't tell which way up the writing is, it gives you a little triangle at the top rather than a circle. So that's obviously the way up it goes. So I'll just stick it on top of them covers for now with that. This one is the same as what's on my other electric glide, so I'll keep one of that. It'll be handy as a spare gasket for the inspection cover on the primary. Oh, back in a second. Now then, with most primaries, the primary oil, you do it with the bike upright. Now obviously this is a trike, so the bike's upright, but with the soft tail you do the transmission when it's upright and you do the engine oil when it's upright, so it's actually dead handy, dead easy for doing all this. Right, primary oil. Now this is the one, this is the primary oil I had left from when I topped up the newer electric glide. Now there's actually I've used about, I think about 160 millilitres out of that bottle. Now when you do for these ones, sorry, for what was a deuce, if you just drained your oil, they recommend it's like 700 and, I don't know, 708 or something like that millilitres of oil to fill the primary up, and it's the same rule when it's level with the bottom of the spring plate. That's it, it's level. Now this has been spaced out from when it was the bike, because it had the bigger wide back wheel in it, so all the primary has been spaced out, so it will take a little bit more, but in here there's just under 800 litres, so I'm going to use this up first, and then if I have to I'll open a fresh bottle. That one's unused, and rather than opening that up and then using what's in there to top up, if I can fill it up with what's in there, that can stay sealed. So let's put the plug back on that, move it out of the way. So I want to drain out, no, I'm not going to drain out anything really, I'm going to empty this into there. Get my torch and have a look in. I'm going to take you off camera in a sec, off the tripod. I want to show you this because I think I've been mega lucky here, as in I don't have to open this other bottle so it can stay sealed. Now I don't know how good a shot I'll get of this, but we'll see. Get my torch. Just bear with me while I try and get this set up without it being out of focus. There. That silver ring you can see that's sort of just under that bolt head, that's the edge of the diaphragm spring, and that's where the oil level's meant to be, and that's where it is. It's just on it. So that's a winner on that one. Just put you back on this tripod. Zoom back out, wonder what was going on then. So, I've used up all of what was in there, which was just under 800 millilitres. But as explained earlier, this has been spaced out, so there's extra, a little bit of extra oil to get it up to its level. But it also means I don't have to open that one, that can stay sealed for now. So, the next thing is, switch my torch off, is we'll get the the inspection covers back on. Now these are anywhere up to 12 Newton meters. So rather than go to the full 12, I'll go to, that was 13, you thick fuck. Right, so I've set that on 11 Newton meters. One thing I will have to do is just grab an adapter. Oh, just be a sec. So we'll put this one on first. I'll grab a plate. I'll give these a basic clean off. Grab a new gasket. Now then, the screws on these, you've got two long ones, two short ones. And the long ones go in the top, and that one there next to the clutch opening. The short ones obviously go in the other two. It's easy to see as well. It's, you know, it's not like, oh, it's difficult to tell which is which. They're just a through hole, them, whereas they are threaded, and you can actually see the threads. There's no threads in them ones. There will be inside, but a lot further in when you think that's the two different length bolts. So, a little bit of blue Loctite, just a little drop. I'll start winding these in. Typical blocking fucking view with my knee. So just put them in loosely to start with, just until you get all four in. Right, so I'll swap the end over, because they were Torx bits, these are Allen bolts, and it's going to be the same thing with this lot. So there's the new gasket, which is going to obviously go in that way, and what we have is the outer cover, the spacer ring which goes that way, and one of the old gaskets which I've just given a clean off, but it's not going to be acting as a gasket. If you imagine that's sat on there and then you've got the solid one on the inside, so now it's going to get through anyways. So get it all lined up, get a screw in it, new gasket sat in. Touch of Loctite. And then get it in. Oh, I'm glad I noticed that. Nearly put the booking gasket on the wrong way around. So you've got to concentrate. Mistakes are easy to make, which I think I've just proved. Because I've just rubbed the Loctite off on the gasket, I'll just put a little bit more on it. And start again. We'll offer it up this time. Now, same as before, don't tighten them up till you've got all of them in. Bit too much on there. And these just torque up to the same as them, and 11 Newton meters, well up to 12. Let's start with the top one, I think. That one's just rounding out on me. Right, and that one I'll take back out. I've got another, well, I've got a couple of spares of these, so I'll ratchet a new one out. Right, oh, I'm in these. I'm just going to knock you off for a minute, I'll be back soon. Right, I ratcheted out the new dome heads, and I was about to take one out and replace that one that was rounding off, and then I thought, no, not anymore. That's the one that actually came out. I've got these. I bought a pile of these. They were meant to be high grade. I've got them in my electric glide, put them in this. The only reason I didn't put them in there is because I didn't get any of the long ones. But it seems that every time I do one of these, and it's the same on the electric glide, when I take one out, I'm fucking rounding them out. You know, and it's only 11 Newton meters, it's fuck all. So what I've done, I've actually ratcheted out some proper stainless Allen bolts, and I'm going to replace all of them with the stainless Allen bolt. So just make sure I get the right one on. Right, so I'm just going to do these one at a time. So I'll get this one in and torqued up, and then basically what I'll do is I'll just knock it off, take the bit of blue Loctite on, take the others out one at a time, and then replace them. So I'll come back when I'm done. Right, that's all them replaced. Now I am gonna look for some more of like these, but I'm gonna actually get a proper decent, I can't remember where I got these from, I probably got them off friggin' Fleabay or something like that, but I'm gonna go to a proper fasteners spot and get some decent stuff. As I say, them, every time I seem to take them off and come to put them back on, I'm replacing one or two of them because they're just rounding out. It just shows the quality of them is just obviously garbage. So, but they're in now, fastened up nice and snug. So yeah, when I eventually order some more, like the dome head ones, I'll measure these ones up as well and get some new ones for there as well. But for now, that's primary and stuff finished. I'll zoom back out. So what I'll do is I'll knock you off, move you to the other side, we'll get this tranny filled up, and then we'll get some oil in the engine, engine oil in the oil tank, and then once that's done I'll fire it up, run it for a little while, let it get up to temperature, and then again knock it off and then check the tranny and engine oil levels. So I'll just knock you off for now, I'll be back soon. Right, the usual lamb's oil. This one's already opened and there's about 350 ml of oil in it, so I'll just empty this in from a drained gearbox. They recommend, well they don't recommend, they tell you it's between, I think it's something like 531 millilitres up to 700 and something. So I'll just tip all this one in and empty the bottle, and then I'll put a couple 100 ml in out of a new bottle and we'll check to see where the level is. On average it usually is around about the 700 ml mark, as in nearly 700 or just over, depending on how well you drain the box. Right, so that's that one empty. Same stuff obviously. Bit of new bottle. So if I bring this down to about 7.5, that's going to be the 500 odd. I think it'll take more than 500 and odd. I think we'll be looking at close to the 700. I'm obviously overflowing it because it's fucking yarn everywhere, so it'll definitely take more than 700. It definitely helps if you have the spout in the gearbox properly. Good job I had me my oil tray underneath. Right, so taking into account what I've just spilled, I've put about, let's put that down there for now, I've put about 700 mils in, but as I say I spilt a lot of it. So I've probably only put about 600 in. Just clean up some of this spilt oil. Make sure it's not on the pipes because it'll stink. Right. The wrong angle, I'll just move some bottles out of the way. Oh come on, how hard can it be to fucking screw a fucking dipstick in? The fucking thing's stuck now. Jesus fucking Christ. So another fucking go. Doesn't help the fact that I can't get rid of the bastard properly. Come on, fuck's sake. Right, this is going to seriously do my fucking head in now. Right, get on there. Oh, it's one of them things where you need to walk away for 10 minutes or hit it with a fucking big hammer. Fucking finally. So you screw it all the way in when you get it eventually to go in. And now my fucking fingers are too slippery, I can't unwind it. Right, so I dipped that after fucking about for ages, and when I got it out I couldn't see the fucker because I didn't have my glasses on. Oh, some things are sent to test you. And the next thing that's sent to test me is where the fuck did I put my glasses? Right, let's try that again. This time we'll try and get it in the right way. Well, I may have to just get me a little syringy thing and suck some out of that with the torch. Right, so that one's on 6.5. So that's through. Actually, I put spilt a bit. I think what I'll do. It's not massively over, but it was over. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to just leave it like that until I've ran it. Once I've ran it up to get the engine temp up, once I've put the engine oil in, that is, I'll then check it again. If need be, I'll just syringe some out of it to get it down a bit. Right, so I'm going to knock you off again, get you set up differently, and we'll start putting some engine oil in it. Right, I've just put you straight back on. I was just cleaning some oil off here that is, I noticed seeping down the outside of this pipe. When it dawned on me that I was screwing the fucking thing all the way in, and you don't with the gearbox. You just push it in till the threads touch. Like, just push it in until they touch and then lift it back out. It's the engine oil that you push the bung all the way in to get your engine oil level. So I was fucking doing it wrong. So I'm going to have another go. Right, touch in. Clean this off properly. Do that again. In fact, fucking try and get it in straight. Right, so that's on the threads. Right, I don't know if you can see on there. The difference is not enough. I thought it's strange that I had only put that amount of oil in and it was that full. So, I'm just going to trickle a little bit more in, because the level it's at there, it really won't take a lot more to get it up to where it needs to be. Because bear in mind, as saying there, I put about 650 ml in. Now, as I say, bear in mind, I can probably spill 100 ml because it was all pouring out the front of the gearbox, because I didn't have this in the hole properly. So I'm just going to put a tiny little bit in. Just let that trickle in, and then try and lift it out without dripping oil all over the exhaust. Clean this off. Right, on the threads, it is now up to level on the full. But as I say, I'll still, when I eventually come to start it up, I fucking hate them bastard screw-in fittings. Little bastard, get in there. Yeah, and I'll check that again after it's been running. But it's not, it's on the full mark, just a cock hair above the full mark, which is fine. But when it's been running, we'll see where the level is, and if it needs it, then obviously we'll put a bit more in. If for some strange reason the level's gone up, we'll get the syringe out and suck some out of it. So, right, I'm going to set you up again in a different spot and we'll get some engine oil in it. Right, back in a minute.